Hi everyone, 大家好. I'm Joaquin, and today we have a very renowned expert specialist together with me to share with you all some experience about what the association needs. And in these sessions we have Liu Ping, Lao Si, and then we have Leslie, we have Diana, and we have Rahul. I'll let them to introduce themselves later on. Just before we start the conversation, I'd like to share with you all a few slides on a preview of the ICA Association survey outcome. Let me share my screen. Do some technical work here. Just bear with me. Let me know if y'all can see my screen now.
Yeah. We can see.
Good. All right. Good. So I will go on to anyone that if you're new or not sure who ICA is, we are the global meeting community leaders specialized in international association meeting. We have 4 or 5 sectors. We focus more on educations. We foster educations, and we are the business hub. We're now working on providing a good platform for business lead, for current business lead and future. We have more than 1,100 members across over 100 countries and territory worldwide. Having said that, we also have the International Association Community. So we are working together to shape the future international event meeting together to future value. So as I mentioned, that's we have a very good experts panels today to share with us on their experience, and we'll share with you the tips on how we can work further for the future association and business. Just let you to have a quick look on the survey that you will see where the association base are mainly from Europe and North America. Part of the reason is because many of the head office or regional office are in Europe and North America. And today we wanted to know also what we got from the global side. Is it similar to what you're experiencing? One good thing that why I want to show this revenue stream in this slide, if you can see majority of the revenue stream from associations is actually based on the meeting, trade, exhibitions. So we are definitely have the future, and the business will be driving very fast. The meeting format, of course, look at it, is like back to face-to-face. And now running a lot of full house in venue as and also hotel as well. What are the challenges that they are facing? Mostly from the budget perspective, and I'm sure everyone you may know from your clients that we're talking about, like, you know, flexible contract, what they can do, resources, and they need more different supports. Any change of RFP? Yes or no? And some of the key words that you will see, they're talking about hybrid, the role of the local host, what are the location patterns and why is that need to change? And of course, one of the key topic will be sustainability. And this is what we did a quick research during AIM in Australia, is that what suppliers think or meeting solutions provider things that delegates would want. If you're looking at that, a lot of people are still thinking about destination appeal, that's on the cultural aspects, and 20% will be on the subventions and money support. And today I'm gonna kind of like let the expert to share with you if this is really what they are thinking of, or they are looking at beyond that. And these are the area of support. If you can see, there's a switch where the diamond side is from the last year outcome. And then on the blue bar is for this year. You're looking at it, is like member engagement, sustainable events, marketing communications for events, and how we can help them, how our clients to achieve this. I'll let the, we will have the conversations today and talk about it. There's one inputs that or important elements that majority, if you're looking at the portions, is 35%, 30%, 25% added up, nearly 80%, I would say. they think it's very important to look at the environmental impacts of when having a conference, and also how association meeting can bring further impact to social, to the community development. So what I will stop sharing here, and then I will start the conversations. Right, now, before that, Dan, would you like to share a little bit about yourself before we start?
Thanks very much, Joaquin, and hello everyone. I'm Deanna Varga and I'm coming to you from Sydney, Australia, which we call Gadigal land of the Eora Nation. My company is Maven Global, and I am the CEO and founder of Maven Global, and we support associations in their revenue diversification journey. We work with associations mostly in Australia, but also with their international counterparts. And business events, as many of us know, have seen a change pre-COVID to post-COVID, and now what does that mean? And aligned to that has been the change in revenue for education and education support. So it's a really interesting time for associations. Our company celebrates 5 years this year, and so we're very excited to be here, and thank you to ICA and TTG for sponsoring and having us here today.
Thank you, Diana. And Rahul.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Rahul, and I'm from Malaysia. We have a company, Andres 40, which is a PCO based in Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia. We handle a number of events across Asia Pacific with our clients from around the globe, and we specialize in tech. So we at Andres 40 try to automate most of our processes while organizing event, but ensuring that we do not take away the human touch.
Hi, everyone. Hello, good morning. And I feel very glad, very pleased to see old friend and a new friend. And this is Leslie Lee from China National Convention Center. I'm now working as the Deputy General Manager in charge of internationalization, marketing, branding, and security management. As you know, CNCC is one of the best suppliers and partners in China with associations. And we feel very pleased to work with associations around the whole world to create a new world and a very, very best future. Thank you so much.
Thank you for Leslie for the introduction.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Liu Ping. I'm the founder of China Star. China Star is a PCO as well as DMC. And the good thing for me, after 3 years epidemic, we still have the same team, and everyone is still there. And the business is coming back. So I'm really happy. I'm very happy to join this session and to talk to you, not face to face, but at least virtually, you still can see my face.
Have you experienced any swift of requests in RFP or request from association clients? So I will start with Rahul first.
Right. So, of course, there has been a shift in everything, I would say. It's not just the RFP from the client, but it's also the way that they're thinking, the way that they see value, or what they want to deliver to their members. The biggest shift, I would say, that we have seen in the RFP change is what they're asking for. They're not really focusing on capacity anymore, but they're focusing more on capabilities. And there is needless to say that hybrid has been the key term for a number of them. Whether it's in a very small form, a large form, or is it full virtual, but definitely there is an element of hybrid. The least being they want the sessions and all to be covered, recorded, and available for future consumption, which wasn't really a huge requirement before COVID. So I would say that has been the biggest change. Now, with hybrid coming in, we have definitely higher requirements in terms of audio visuals, higher requirement in terms of quality of delivery. So I would say that would be the one biggest change in RFP that I've been seeing from the clients.
Hi, thank you. So sorry, the internet drop me off. That's why it's very important to have face-to-face meeting. It will not happen this way. Yeah. I see Rahul has been talking about like what is the change. Rahul, I think you're mute.
Yeah. Sorry, Waikin, can you go again?
I was saying just now that when I joined back, I think you all have continued with the conversations.
Yes. So I
and
just
then
took
you were
the
talking
first
about
question.
the change.
Right. I just took the first question. I think we'll have to clip that thing in the middle when you were lost. Yeah, and then we can just continue.
Yeah,
So-
sure, of course.
Sure.
Yeah. And
So yeah, for me, I have answered. Maybe we have to move on to Leslie.
yeah, I think what about Leslie from the venue side? What did you see? And any
Okay. Yeah, okay, got it. Thank you so much for your question. And yeah, actually from perspective of venue, and now I think as you know, all of us, no matter venue or associations, we met with or we are confronted with many uncertainties, right? And we call it poly crisis. Yeah. So I think this is a world where associations and now meeting suppliers, solution providers should work together to fight against all these risks and challenges. And also, we need to work for a shared future. And from the perspective of value, and as you know, CNCC being the midstream, and our core advantage and value is to tightly connect the upstream and the downstream of the industry chain to build up a convention and event ecosystem. And on one hand, we may integrate the valuable resources with the venue as the hub, right? And establish a mutually beneficial network and partnership while serving as a venue supplier for the associations, right? On the other hand, we share the brand effect and industry resources to develop a win-win partnership with the associations and establish a symbiotic ecological environment for all of us. And so we feel very glad because, as you know, CNCC is one of the best suppliers and solution providers across China in the past few years, right? And so we have done many things or measures to be better. And now, firstly, we have become a long-term value partners. And also, we have become an event organizing partners. And very lately, we have developed a deeper partnership with associations. Now, I would like to give an example like World Gas Conference in 2025. And yeah, we are going to explore upstream business and become integrated solution provider for associate. So for the association, I mean WGC. Yeah, okay. And hopefully we would like to generate a win-win solution for both venue and the service suppliers and add value of the service to all of us. And we have expanded our business scope by providing event planning, event promotion, and other services, more like a PCO. Okay, that is a new role, and what we are going to make us, to provide high quality value and integrated services with a higher added value. And we are going to forge stronger, closer, deeper partnership with associations while explore new and broad collaboration opportunities with more industry peers. Associations. no matter in China, in Asia, around the whole world. Yeah, okay. So
Yeah,
that is my point from the perspective of venue.
Thank you, Leslie. And I know you need to run for another meeting.
Yeah.
Rahul and Diana and Liu Ping also, if you don't mind, I will continue with you a little bit longer so that you can go for the meeting and we continue with our conversations. And Leslie, you mentioned about like CNCC, you add another level, say, for example, that you are providing more meeting supports, even meeting support services like PCO to help. That's part of the added value to venue compensation.
Yeah.
Can I just like quickly ask you, did this for international client? What about any changes from the domestic client, like from China associations? Do you see any change?
Actually, we do have many changes since especially after the pandemic. And for example, since the beginning of this year, and we have received a lot of booking requeries, from various associations. I mean, now here in China, and we can see the market's anticipation and enthusiasm for association meetings. Yeah, we find. And actually, we also believe that now, since now face-to-face interaction and experience remain the core of meetings and events, but at the same time, we must acknowledge that the pandemic do change the way people interact with each other. Especially in the field of our convention, exhibition, and events. So I think the best thing I would like to say, and I would like to mention that sustainability is another change, especially after the pandemic and when we talked with associations. And so we have attached more and more importance to sustainability, sustainable events and venues. As you know, at the national level, and China has set a 2016 net zero emission target and launched a carbon emission trading scheme. And from our perspective as a venue, and we have implemented a number of measures to reduce our carbon footprint. So that is the thing I would like to share with all of us, that the association they have the new requires and they have new scope to focus on in the near future or in the long term. Yeah.
Thank you. And before you go, what is the 2 key words that you would like to share with the audience today with us to stay how we can stay more competitive?
Okay, now first one is digitalization. Okay, and the second one is innovation. So
it's like we provide more options and be more creative.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
See you soon. Yeah.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
And before you go back to China and to Liu Ping, I think I'm going to talk to Diana, like from your side, from the other side of the world, or from the association perspective. You heard from Rahul on the Asia perspective side, and then Leslie on the China side. Any specific changes or things that you would like to share with us?
Well, I thought it was interesting. Thank you, Joaquin. I thought it was interesting that Leslie spoke with so much passion about CNCC, because for associations, that genuine partnership is a really important part of deciding. It's not just about the negotiating the contract, but is that venue or the supplier really going to look after the association? And do they really understand the objectives of their association? So I really liked how Leslie integrated their sustainability objectives. He came from a problem-solving mindset, which is really important, because associations are trying to find how to reinvigorate their events sector now going into this new normal. And Rahul talked about hybrid events and this shift in hybrid events. And certainly one of the things we've seen at a board level, for an association board level, this thought process of let's just do it as hybrid because that's cheaper. And we want to, and as Rahul said, let's get the content going. All of us as event professionals know that hybrid is not cheaper. It's a different model and it's a different option. So we have to continue to educate the key decision makers around what are the budget requirements, what are the quality requirements, and what are the experiences that associations are looking for that need to be integrated into that event. And so the event strategy, it's always been an important part of a business event, but now there's this new, or it's not even new, it's just new in that more people are aware that a hybrid or a virtual option exists. So seeing that change in strategy is probably one of the key outcomes for the associations.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. And I'm going to ask Liu Ping also on her PCO perspective, like what's going on and if she see any things different.
The last 3 years, we only received one request from the International Association directly, and it was a confirmed event for Beijing. They sent us the RFP for PCO services. They insisted that their Congress must be an in-person event. So while the Chinese counterpart could not promise at that time in China, if China could open to the outside world. So the association changed their destination from Beijing to Bangkok. Actually, the meeting will take place on the 30th of March this year. So rest of the requests are from the Chinese associations. So from the requests from the Chinese associations, we can tell they are tired of virtual meetings. And they only want to have a face-to-face event. Some of them probably will have a small part of hybrid content for a couple of VIP speakers or international speakers or international attendees who cannot make the trip. So when we made the proposals for an offline meeting in the last 3 years, we always prepared an additional proposal for an online event as an alternative. Now, the association say they only want offline, no online, only offline events. So in case that something happens again because of epidemic, they prefer to wait. So they prefer not to have the virtual events, but wait for the time when it is ready. So this is the change. At the very beginning, everyone believed the virtual event was something very unique. Now, just too many, so they are tired. Now they only want face-to-face meetings. So this is only change I could see, yeah.
Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna move on to another questions that you talk about, like how we would like to provide more options, I would say, to enable. Rahul, did you see any changes of people asking more flexibility of contract?
Yes, so recently there has been a lot of inquiry from our clients because of a lot of uncertainty, especially before China opened up. So there were a few events which were also signed up in China for 22 and 23. And one of them was World Congress of Nephrology. I want to share that example, which was supposed to happen in China. But due to the uncertainty, they wanted to move. And then in less than a year, to move a world conference is a big thing. And then definitely being flexible was one very big part of making that decision, whether they want to move and which country would they want to move this to, right? And it's not just them, but there are a number of other associations who would now want a leeway in the sense that they are also not sure. So previously, we know that a Congress expects 1,000 people, let's say, and they were very sure every year their RFP goes out is 1,000 people. But now when they have got this virtual element added, they're not sure whether all 1,000 are going to turn up or whether it's going to be 200 online, 800 in person. And one too many congresses, including ICA Congress last year, saw that they get more in person, which is kind of unexpected. So if you do not have that flexibility with all your suppliers, it becomes very difficult to then manage unexpected attendance, be on either side, whether unexpected attendance on in person or unexpected attendance on the virtual side, because it takes a lot of effort on both sides. So we are getting more and more clients who are now inclined to have a flexible or a so-called scalable contract, where they start small and they should have the flexibility of adding in as and when the Congress approaches or the event approaches. We have integrated that into our company's pricing structure as well, so giving them that flexibility. There are a number of events that also want to do a private profit share with the organizers or with the PCO. So as a company, of course, we, even though we do not do that, we see that there, if you want to act as partners, you need to somehow get involved in their profit making, if that's one of the objectives. Our main focus as a PCO is to always understand what's the objective of that event, of that association, and then ensure that we are able to meet that objective. But again, flexibility then becomes a very big part, because if you want to act as partners, you can't say that your client takes all the risk and you just do the job for them. But there comes an issue where when you become a partner, you should have some say or some control over how the event is organized, right? And there is a conflict between two. So it's very important to find that balance. And again, with each client's, the amount of flexibility that they require and kind of balance they want with their event is different. But most definitely the clients' associations are now more inclined to get more flexibility in terms of not just the numbers, but in terms of services that may be required closer to the event. Just an example is one of the congresses added a virtual element like 3 weeks before the event, because they decided they will have to do it because of the demand they have been getting from number of members who are willing to pay full price, but still get access, right? So yeah, these are times that we have not seen before, and no one knows which way it is headed. Even though it's 3 years since meeting industry has opened up, we're still not sure whether this is the trend and this is going to stay. So yeah, the flexibility, those are the things that client has been asking us recently in the past, I would say 1.5 years.
Thank you. And you brought up a very good kind of like points about like being partnership. So now we are in Asia, a lot of time that we've been very modelers. We see ourselves as a supplier, but I'm glad that you all work on the partnership. Now, these questions are gonna, before I talk to Liu Lao Shi, that's in the China side, like Diana, do you think like association looking for partnership, or they're just someone to just solve their immediate problems? What do you think? There is a lot of myth, and like as a meeting solution, well, we call ourselves supplier, or I will always say meeting solution provider. Do you think there's a myth or there's a line between supplier and partners, and how we get along? Like, you know, to go move from supplier to partner.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and we debated it in AIM as well in Melbourne. Look, I think there's both, and also, you know, always the best answer is it depends. If it's a pure transactional relationship, I need a hotel with has a capacity of 100 people for a theatre style. It's a relatively straightforward supplier-client relationship. If the association is in the hospitality sector, or it's the accommodation association, when they're looking for a hotel, it may not just be a venue to fulfill a need. It's how does that hotel help the association fulfill their objectives in the accommodation sector or in the hospitality sector? And so how can that that accommodation provider use its network, use its staff to demonstrate different elements. So the partner relationship, I think associations are looking for this. Coming back to Leslie's comments and touching on some of Rahul's comments just then, the elements of flexibility, really important when you're talking about a partnership, whether it's profit share or whether it's about bringing extra marketing resources or extra people to the table, particularly now while we're all very struggling for resources and skills and capability, or whether it's around Leslie's comments around sustainability or risk reduction in the contracts. These are all critical parts where a partnership model is very different. Whereas in a supplier-client relationship, this is the contract, these are the terms and conditions. There's a different kind of relationship if you need to be more flexible around that, because you understand the why and you understand what the problem is that you're trying to solve. And also from the partner side, you understand the perspective in which they're coming. So I think the partnership model is very, very important, but it's not always relevant.
Thank you. And let's hear from Liu Ping on the, because like China Star has been working a lot of different projects that domestically and also internationally. So let's hear from Liu Ping to share with us on her kind of like experience.
And usually in the last 3 years, when we prepared a proposal, we always prepared a proposal for online event as an alternative. And now no people mention about that, and no people mention about the epidemic. And so they even didn't want to ask us for any proposal. How if something happened, what we are going to do? The association, they didn't ask the questions. So that's something very, I think. Anyway, we should learn lessons from the pandemic. So in the future, everyone should have the sense of risk management. But actually, no one mentioned it. They are just too tired of it. So they don't want to talk about it now. I didn't see the change. For me, I thought, okay, anyway, even just one page, we would like to give you something. And so in case something happen, and what are we going to do? We are going to take alternative, or we just stop. So, but association people, they never ask us for this kind of suggestions. Actually, every one of us should respect the others' labor, their knowledge and experience. It depends more on us for how the other people treat us. The association clients will regard us as a partner when they realize that we can offer professional solutions to solve their problems, but not just to do what they ask us to do. As the suppliers, we must build up a trust relationship, just you mentioned, trust, so important. Relationship with the associations. According to the experience of China Star in the past years, when we first time meet the association people, we can feel a distance between us and some doubts during the communication. After one successful project with our excellent service, and actually the association turned their attitude to us and treat us more like a partner than a supplier. When they regard you as an expert, they will appreciate your value and respect you as a partner at an equal position. So I think first you have to be really professional and qualified. So you should never complain. Oh, they don't treat us equally enough. So you have to show people how good you are. If you are an expert, if you are a professional, and if you can solve their problems. So that's even more important. I never complain how the association people treat us. I always check what if we have done the best job.
That's good to know on like both to see what needs. And any example that how you work together with venue or anything that right now what is the changes you think that from your end that you will add on?
This morning I talked with my team, And now I don't do logistic works, and so they said actually they didn't see any too many differences, and but the value people say it seems to them the events are getting smaller and than before, and except that there is no any difference. And my team, they work very well with the value people, and they try to build up the relationship of trust, not only just trust, and also friend. So whenever they have problems, they can have a good discussion on how to solve the problem, and they can face the association clients together. So this is something making me feel very comfortable.
Great. I think that's the way, like we talk about partnership, it should be like working together with different stakeholders to build,
Yes, that's true.
build a stronger trust
Yeah.
together. And
Yeah.
what is the outlook you think the international association meetings would be? Would now that it's reopened, we'll get more coming in?
Yeah, so I talked with a couple of venues, and they are very busy now. And usually February is not the high season for meetings, but this year they had extremely busy February. That because a lot of domestic events did not take place because of the pandemic. So they all piled up. Now suddenly China opened and everyone wanted to have their event at the same time. So they have a very busy February and March as well. But the venue people, they were also they worried about the new requests. They said they haven't received enough new requests from the international associations. They believe the reason is because in the last 3 years, China stopped the application for the international associations. So this also we worry a lot, because for 3 years it seems to me, and the associations, probably some concerned government departments, they didn't do too much for bidding the international association conference for China. So I don't know if they are ready now. And a couple of our international professionals, and we are often invited as speakers, and we try to talk and hope people will hear our voice. We think Chinese government should be more active and to be involved in the international association conferences, and to try to attract more international conferences to be held in China. So probably it's a long way to go, but anyway, it's better than nothing. We still will talk a lot, loudly. Yeah, we hope people will hear us. Yeah.
I believe like there's a lot of work that it will be doing as now reopen, that the voice will be out and let everybody know China is ready to receive the international conferences. And like you say, it will never be, what's that called? We will never stop investing future events like association meetings. Yep.
So it's good for you to come to China and to talk here and let more people hear the voice from the international industry associations
on the
and
global trends. Yeah.
Yes, especially those decision makers of China.
And what about Rahul? Like any other example on the partnership beside the flexibility, like any outreach or anything that, from an international, they're coming to Asia or regional coming to, say, for example, to Malaysia. What is the common request that you think they would like to partner, they would like to know that as a PCO would able to provide additional value to become like part of more forming a partnership?
Right. So first, I think you have to look at how long-term would the relationships going to be, right? So most of the time if you look at a PCO as a PCO, which is based in a country, let's say, just like mine, based in Malaysia, they're looking at a relationship of 1 to 2 years. So they have their event in Malaysia, which is probably not going to come back in Malaysia for the next 5 to 10 years. So they're looking at a very short-term relationship, but that doesn't mean that it cannot be a partner-partner relationship, right? But then the objective and the time frame is pretty short. So what they are looking for is when they partner with a company which is based in Malaysia, they would want to bring in the local expertise, right? If they have been organizing their events for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, they already know their event, right? The variable that is not known to them is how does that event fit in Malaysia? So that is where a local partner comes in. And then again, as rightly mentioned, partnership is not just about being flexible, but you have to understand about what's the objective of this meeting that's coming in. We learn from that, and we have tried to extend that value that we give to the client so that when they look at not just Malaysia, but when they look at Asia Pacific, they know that they have a partner there, right, who can deliver or who can bring in the value back to the table and say, how does that fit in here? So we have worked with a number of associations. So I'm just going to give you an example of two. One, again, the one that I brought up earlier is the World Congress of Nephrology. It's organized by the International Society of Nephrology. They have been previously predominantly organizing their meetings on the Western side of the world, right? One of the biggest reasons why they don't bring it, why they did not bring it to Asia as much as they would want to, is because of that factor unknown, right? Their sponsors, their delegates are predominantly coming from the Western part. So when they brought their event to Malaysia for the first time is when we got in touch with them as a 1-year relationship, 1.5-year relationship. But now that has turned into a long-term relationship because of the partnership created. As they can see, now it's easier for them to rotate between international and local, right? International and Asia Pacific, sorry. So every time they come to Asia Pacific, which is every alternate year, they know that they have a local partner who can get the expertise, who knows the culture, understands it. So this is very, very important, that a lot of vendors, so to say, who think as vendors, they would just want that instant relationship to be, I provide the service, do the transaction, get paid, and then I don't get back to you for the next 10 years because you're not going to bring your event back to Malaysia. But if you do not have that bigger vision of being a partner in the long term, then you will never get there. So this is something that companies should change at every level, right? Not just a PCO, but everyone, including the venue, because as PCO, we can still supply our services across border, but as venue, you are fixed there, you know. Your millions of dollars have been invested there and you can't just be somewhere else. But you still have to look at the long-term relationship, because I've seen associations bringing in multiple smaller meetings into Malaysia, right? So it doesn't mean that if you can't get there 1,000 people international congress in, you will not be able to get there 100 people workshops in, right? Especially if they have a very good experience at your venue, at your destination, they'll bring additional items in. The second example that I want to give you is the World Association of Esophagus. Now, they have been doing their 20 plus congresses only and only in Europe, even though it's an international event. Again, when I had a conversation with them, I asked them what's the reason? Every time the answer is the same: certainty, right? They've got their sponsors coming in from Europe. They've got their delegates coming in from Europe. And my question to them, I met them first time in 2019. My question to them was, do you want to change that? Or do you want to stay here? And their answer, when their answer is yes, we want to change that, is where, you know, we tell them that you are getting your delegates from Europe is because you're organizing your event in Europe, right? So if you come across and organize your event in Asia, where you have a partner now, we will take care of whatever the local needs are, right? Including sending out the right marketing message to bring in the right delegates and the sponsors. So we did have our first time ever Esophagus, their international congress, happening in China. Unfortunately, it locked down in 2020. So we had to go virtual for that year. And now this year, they'll be organizing back in Europe. And they have now been very keen to organize every alternate year in part of Asia Pacific. So it is not possible if you do not have a trusted partner across the globe, right? So we are half the world across, but they know that they can trust us because we have done a number of smaller events with them. So if companies start looking at relationship as very short, it will be very short. If they want the relationship to be longer, and where they can partake in the organization of the event, it will be that way as well. So that is what I think. I wanted to give you these examples with specific names. I know a lot of people wouldn't want to disclose, but I want to give you those names so that people who are listening can actually go back and Google and understand. If you look at something like that, you will just, if you're a venue, if you're a bureau doing your research, you will drop that client. You will not even approach because you say they have, in 25 years, they have never come here. They will not come here anymore. But no, if you go in as a partner with them, they will, there are changes that you can bring in.
Thank you, Rahul. I'm really glad that you bring in also like your supports or your partner to support the associations on the marketing messages.
We do.
Because that's part of the, the requests. Like just now, I showed the preview on part of the request. A lot of time, like for venue and PCO, they just don't think that they have the ability or they don't know what to do with it. Give you one example, like Diane, we talked about it, about like, the first bar, they wanted the key support is like member engagement. And as a meetings solution provider, how we can help them, like for venue, perhaps we can arrange more space for their delegates to be able to have more social connection or social engagement. That's also engagement. Like Rahul, you say about like, you book on apps and PCO, maybe on the conference app, they can also get connected, more features. So that's where we can do it, part of the associations. And Diana, from your side, to kind of like anything else that you think is important, because what we were talking about right now, I think we covered quite a number. What about, creating a meeting impact to the community? We talk about legacy. Is that something, a switch, the needs that associations are looking at? Like, I'm coming to this destination, I want to leave a legacy behind, not just ticking a box that I just want to be here to have a meeting.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I mean, Leslie talked about it a lot in terms of what CNCC is doing. But I think certainly in Australia, diversity, inclusion, social impact, we use ESG, so environmental social governance requirements are really important. And they're really important for the supplier side and the partner side, as well as equally important from the association side. And then the role that the International Congress plays in that is another critical part. And it's a way that you can fulfill your strategic objectives for the association. So it's a really important, we're seeing certainly sustainability is probably more often than not the pillar on a strategic plan, but it's not the only one. And looking at diversity more broadly, whether that be from abilities, whether that be from, in Australia, First Nations, whether it be from or Indigenous markets, whether it be females or youth. These are really important streams, and they all have a part to play in the future sustainability of the association and also the future sustainability of the meeting. And Rahul was just talking about a long-term view, and this is where social impact is actually coming for a long-term view. And that concept of, well, if your meeting is 20 plus years in Europe, what have been the social impacts over those 20 plus years? I mean, the association wants to start to understand what is the legacy they're leaving. And so if there is an association that says, no, we don't want to change, conversely to Rahul's example, then pushing back on them and saying, okay, well, what is the impact you're going to leave on the destinations in which you're staying? So these are really challenging questions, but they are a big part of most strategic plans. And then just coming back to that partner element, this is where, whether it's youth, whether it's females, whether it's diversity, whatever the component is, it's finding the partners that can help fulfill those objectives and bring experience from other associations. And this is where a PCO is a really good partner, because they've seen so many different examples. They've tested things that have worked, they've tested things that haven't worked, and they've also got some different networks to the association. And I think one of the challenges for associations in this space of doing something differently is the fear of the unknown. And we've become a lot more risk, we've increased our risk appetite with the pandemic because we had to, but our natural reaction sometimes is to be a bit risk averse. And sometimes looking at doing things like, and ICA does this very, very well, the youth program, where the youth are invited to come and present to the board and they are given assignments. I love this concept. Other associations, should engage with ICA to find out how the program worked, what didn't work, what could be different. And it brings the youth, in this context, the group is youth. It brings the youth on the journey, and that's about the future sustainability of the association, of the business event sector. Not to give you ICA a plug, but it's a very good example.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. Yes, I would definitely say we've been talking to many of the members in different sector partnership. We should kind of be bold and look at how we can add more value to the business, to the clients. And one thing is that now back to face-to-face meeting, and we need to embrace competitions, I would say. And I'd like to kind of wrap up the questions. Leslie mentioned just now about how we can stay more competitive. He mentioned about digitalizations and innovations. What about Rahul? What about you?
Right. So for me, it's continuous adaptability. Yeah, that keeps you competitive. Yeah, most important.
One more.
So automation, because that's the whole reason why we started this company, because with our experience in PCO, there's a lot of manual work and we wanted to automate that. So I would say automation keeps you better than your competition, I believe.
And Diana?
So leading on from that, I think the first thing is having data. So get automated, then have the data. It's got to be clean data. And the second part of that is knowing what to do with the data, because you can know what your competitors are doing, but it's good to know. You don't need to compete with them. You just be the best version of yourself, your company, but use the data to help. We've now got so much data, and don't collect data if you're not going to use it. But the data you collect, make it valuable, because there's a lot of insights in there, which may be the light bulb moment for you that comes through.
That's a very valid point. That's where you get a lot of reports and a lot of surveys that we do. And yes, and from the ICA portal, you have a lot of data. I agree with you. And Rahul, same to you, as I really like you mentioned about the adaptability. Now I want to hear from Liu Ping. What do you think about that?
Okay, let me see. I think we have to be work at very high efficiency, and so we have to be patient. I mean, especially with the Chinese association, and so we have to be flexible. We have to give our especially the Chinese association clients an impression, and we are flexible with all the affairs, but we are always legal and law abiding. So that's so important.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time and your thoughts and your sharing to all of us. Now I will leave it to the floor to everyone here. Like, what is the 2 keyword to make yourself or your organization to be more competitive? Right. And thank you. And I hope you enjoy the sessions. Do contact us, or you can contact our experts if you need to have more informations, or if you'd like to share more experience or more insights from there. And thank you. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
I'll see you soon.